ready to plan on meeting up or anything.
I think we have.
It's now 6:30. I'd like to call this city council meeting of February the 12th to order. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Cosner,
Here.
Councilman Nestor,
Present.
Councilperson Thomas, Councilman Orchakowski,
Here.
Mayor Mosher.
Present.
Hearing we note 4 members present, 1 absent, but noted quorum.
Okay. Bishop Bass, are you giving us our prayer tonight?
I think he is, yeah.
You can see I'm not Pastor Cooster. I'm Bishop William Bass, and I'm pastor in the Gate of Heaven Church of God in Christ. Church of God in Christ is one of the largest black denominations in our country. And so I'm honored to be part of it. I'm honored to be here tonight. Let us pray. Our Father, we come before you as humbly as we know how. We ask you now, God, that you would bless us, and we thank you for the opportunity that we could even come to make our community better. Lord, since this is serious business, and it's a pleasure, and it's a privilege, and it's an honor for us to even represent the city, we ask for your guidance. We ask that you would bless the mayor, God, that you would bless all the council members and all the city workers that God have helped move our city forward. We thank you for mercy and grace. We thank you that you let us even get up this morning and live to see another day. We bless everybody, and we invoke your blessings upon all the people that are here tonight, and we thank you in the name of our Father. Amen. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this point, I'm going to deviate from the agenda very slightly. We've got two officers that we need to get sworn in, Steph Deal and Michael Bikini. If you'd come forward, is Velasic here? Yes. If he would. Our local magistrate will swear you in. Your choice.
Wayne, you need
Do them separately. Yes.
Please raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Michael Bikini,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey,
obey,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of this Commonwealth,
of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge
and I will discharge
the duties
the duties
of my office
of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Please raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Seth Deal,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey,
obey,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of this Commonwealth,
of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge
and I will discharge
the duties
the duties
of my office
of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
Mayor, you need to end the speech.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Wayne.
At this time, I'd like to allow public comments directed to myself on agenda items only. No? No?
Ernest Telegraphus. Page 1. And I really hope you guys do transparency with due diligence. You have a couple projects here. One is this Senior Development Center. Now, I understand it's really a partnership they're seeking. They want some commitment from the city. I wanna know what details these are.
Well,
Yeah, I'm asking for it because you guys are gonna go over it and you're gonna skip the fine points.
there's
I'm
not
looking
gonna
for
be a
fine
lot of detail to this because there's not a lot of detail known. All he's gonna do is give an indication where he's going with this.
Okay, but what indication you people gonna give?
None until we figure out what he's doing.
I hope so. And then, I'm kinda confused here. The Dennis Martinick, what's he gonna do down at, Darner Development? What's that about?
Well,
There's no description here. It just makes statements for labels.
unfortunately, he's not gonna be here to discuss that either. We do have a report that we can read or we can talk about a little bit too, though.
Well, talk about it when he comes in.
We will.
All
He'll be
right.
here next time.
Then, now, I really think honorably of the, fire department, because I saw them in action a few times. But I wanna know, they received 200-some thousand from the last amount, that grant from the Meadows, racetrack. Or not Meadows, from the, Greensburg racetrack. They got like 200-some thousand. Now, we're looking at another amount?
This is from 2024, this $29,000.
What was the amount we gave them last month?
We didn't give him anything last month.
You got 600-some thousand.
We still haven't received that money either.
Oh, yeah, but they're gonna get it.
They're gonna get some of it.
We got a third of it.
Not even, but yes, they're gonna get some of it.
It's a third. We gotta have details here, because people are like spending left and right. And I just wanna know where the
As it-
fine details
As
are.
it happens, we will make sure everybody understands where it's coming from.
Okay, and then we got, I don't know, I think somebody's following Trump on major media. We have somebody who wants to name a street under his name, Luma Breakers. What's that about? What criteria are you using to name people? Is it just purely political?
We'll talk about that when it gets to that point.
Well, I hope you give details, because if not, then it's really a political kumbaya. Everybody's in bed with each other.
Okay,
If you really want a real simple way,
what else?
you could name it, what's his name? Matt Sherrill Way. That would be more natural. That's it.
Thank you.
You don't wanna get him.
Anybody else?
Might need a towel.
You like that, don't you?
Yeah, I have to.
I'll take the other hand.
I'm glad I was drinking.
Does anybody have any old business they'd like to discuss?
No, Mayor.
At this time, I'm gonna take a couple minutes and give my State of the City address. Good evening, members of council, residents of Monessen. Tonight, I wanna talk about where we are as a city, where we've been, and most importantly, where we're going. 4 years ago, Monessen was not planning for a future. We were fighting to survive. When I took office, the city had just $8,000 in the bank and a payroll coming due the next day. We were borrowing simply to keep the lights on. We were a city in crisis. Today, that is no longer who we are. We now finish each year with money in the bank. Our books are stable, our creditworthiness has been restored. State agencies, lenders, and grant programs once again treat Monessen as a serious partner. That financial stability is the foundation for everything that follows. But stability alone is not enough. You cannot grow a city on balanced books alone. You need functional infrastructure, and that is where the real transformation has begun. For decades, Monessen struggled with sewer and stormwater systems that were out of sight, but never out of impact. The 2017 DEP Corrective Action Plan forced us to confront reality. We could not build, we could not attract investment, we could not protect our river from our neighborhoods, or our neighborhoods without addressing what was underground. Since then, we've secured and invested over $20 million into fixing combination lines to reduce debris from shutting down the satellite plant, repairing collapsed pipes, lining, and rehabilitating major trunks, and building the capacity to meet modern government environmental standards. These are not glamorous projects. You cannot see them from the street, but they are a backbone for everything that will come next. You do not build housing on failing pipes. You do not attract employers on systems that violate state law. We chose to fix the foundation. One of the important decisions we made during this process involved the long-planned equalization tank on Parente. That project had gone to a projected cost of more than $8 million. It had grown to a projected cost of more than $8 million and would have required substantial increase in line usage for our residents and businesses. Instead of automatically accepting that outcome, we pushed for a better solution. Working with the Department of Environmental Protection and the Mon Valley Sewage Authority, we demonstrated that separating sanitary flow from stormwater could be a far more effective and affordable approach. This strategy not only addressed the underlying problem, it allowed us to meet the compliance requirements without raising line usage fees to our community. That is the kind of decision-making Monessen deserves. Smart engineering, responsible planning, and protecting taxpayers while still doing what is right. At the same time, we've been cleaning the surface. Over 175 blighted and unsafe properties have been removed through the land bank, judicial sales, strategic demolition. We have been clearing not just debris, but obstacles to development. We did not tear down development. We did not tear down Monessen. We made room for it to be rebuilt. But rebuilding the past is not enough. Fixing pipes, stabilizing finances, and removing blight prepares the city to move forward. It does not, by itself, define where the city is going. Throughout its history, Monessen has always adapted. We were built by industry, we were shaped by manufacturing, we endured an economic collapse, and now, once again, Monessen is preparing to lead, but this time in a new way. Instead of reacting to change, we are beginning to work deliberately, shaping our future by using tools that until now have only been available to nations. We are now engaging with national and international strategic planning experts who have helped guide long-term decision-making at the highest levels of government and global security. Their work focuses on understanding how decisions are made today affect outcome 10, 20, 30 years into the future. This represents a new chapter for Monessen, not because we've never planned before, but because we are now applying a level of foresight and strategic modeling that small cities have never had access to in the past. This effort will allow Monessen to evaluate economic development, workforce training, infrastructure investment, housing, regional partnerships through a long-term lens, not just in election cycles, but short-term funding windows. Simply put, Monessen is moving from recovery to leadership, from reaction to strategy. What does that mean to our residents? It means smarter investment decisions. It means aligning job training with real future industries. It means avoiding costly mistakes before they happen. It means building a city that is resilient, competitive, and preparing for change instead of constantly reacting to it. Monessen now has the opportunity to become a model of how small cities across the country can plan intelligently, attract partners, and take control of their own destiny instead of waiting for outside rescue. And while this long-term planning work begins, we've not stopped restoring something just as important, our civic life. Music in the park, the amphitheater, family events, community gatherings are not just entertainment, they are signals. They tell people the city is alive again. That it is safe, attractive, and welcoming. You cannot grow a city without people believing in it again. And that belief is coming back. We now see serious interest in our riverfront, in our commercial buildings, and in our industrial sites. We are working on tax abatement programs like LERTA, redevelopment tools like the Neighborhood Partnership Program, and partnerships with the county and Commonwealth to make Monessen competitive again. As we move forward, we are strengthening partnerships at the county, regional, and state levels so that Monessen is not standing alone, but leading collaboratively. For the first time in decades, we are not asking whether Monessen has a future. We're building the tools to design the future with intention, discipline, and long-term vision. There is still a great deal of work to do, but we're no longer in retreat. We are moving forward. Thank you to council, to our employees, to our volunteers, and to the residents who stayed invested and believed. Monessen's best days are no longer behind us, they're ahead of us. Thank you. There's a few comments I'd like to make, as well. First off, I want council to be aware that our CDBG funding is moving forward very quickly, and we need to get some paving done in the city. As an example, Skirky, Thompson, Pollard, Rebecca, Veterans Way, all need to be paved using CDBG funds. Concurrent with that, I would suggest that we pave Crest Road with some of our paving funds that we have saved away from P&G funds. Anybody that wants to take a drive down Crest will understand very quickly why that's a road that deserves some funding. Overhill, Jackson, and Washington are all roads that will be paved under agreement with P&G. In other words, they're paying for those roads to be paved. They did some work on them, those will be paved. I think that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 12 roads that are gonna get paved in Monessen this year. I'd like them to be on the agenda for next time for going out for advertisement and so forth. Getting those all advertised at the same time will save us an immense amount of money, hopefully. All that said, I'd also like to invite Mike Slavic to come forth and explain some of his plans for a senior development unit in the city of Monessen near the soccer field of the city of Monessen. Mike, you wanna come up and give your presentation? I'll give you a mic here, or you can speak at the podium.
It's up to you, this is fine.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Michael Slavic. I don't want to take up too much of your time. It looks like you've got quite the agenda, but I'll give you a little background on myself. I was born and raised originally in West Palm Beach, Florida, and we moved up here to the Mon Valley when I was 5 to start kindergarten, small town of Linwood in Bell Vernon, and graduated from Bell Vernon in '99. Went to Duquesne, got my undergrad and my master's of business, and then I went to law school for my master's of law at Pitt. I started a small company. It was like a small investment firm when I was 18 years old, and what I'd do is I'd pull money from investors and I'd find companies that we could manage, run, and possibly sell or keep them, depending on how profitable they were. And this worked great. We got many investors, and to date, since we started back in around, I don't know, 1999, 2000, we've bought, sold, and managed probably 60 or so companies. Anywhere in the range from as small as $100,000 a year in revenue to $50 million a year in revenue. Nothing too crazy, but mainly service-based businesses. We have a lot of tax and accounting firms. We had several oil and gas companies. We've done internet-related businesses, and I met Lou Mavrikes a few years ago, former mayor of yours here in Monessen. Fantastic guy. We hit it off, and we became friends. He brought up an idea for some senior living that it seems that your city is lacking. After doing research, we found that something similar would be something like a St. Barnabas out off of 51 towards West Mifflin. We're not real estate developers, but a lot of my investors have real estate interests. So I pitched it, and they said, okay, keep on it. Let's see what we can do. So we kept the wheels moving. I met the mayor, fantastic mayor you have here in the city. I agree with a lot of what he said as far as what he's doing to kind of revitalize the area. The blight alone, as we toured the city and kind of showed me some of the areas that are dilapidated, it kind of gave me an odd feeling, like, do we really want to do something like this here? But then when he told me the opportunities that we have to bring something like that in the city, a potential land acquisition that seems perfect and ideal for the type of gated community that we're trying to build for seniors, I said, all right, let's kick the can down the road a little bit. Went back to the investors, updated them on that. I then met the bishop. They took me up to the courthouse. It looks like we got a lot of support from those politicians up there, which gave me a little bit more warm and fuzzy feeling that maybe we could do something here. So after that, we've just been in the planning process to try to figure out, time frames for one. After a land acquisition, typically based on our estimates, it'll probably take somewhere around a year, year and a half to go through all the processes of making this come to life. And there's been a couple complications which aren't relevant in this conversation, but our intent is to just continue to progress forward. The mayor and I have a plan of action, and we're just going to continue to follow through with that. not only would it increase the tax roll, it would also give, you know, a lot of local people in, you know, Charleroi, Monessen, Denora, Monongahela, Bell Vernon, a place to put their, you know, senior citizens, that's not 25, 30 miles up the road, somewhere, you know, local here. And the initial game plan, because again, we don't have anything solid yet, got a couple more things to plan out. But you know, things like a convenience store or small grocery store, a chiropractic office, a massage place, something that these seniors that come to live here can not only ascertain value in their property as they grow older, but they also don't have to necessarily leave the community. Or, you know, I'm not sure how seniors get around to Monessen, but I believe there's shuttles and things like that to take them to the thing, and they probably have the Meals on Wheels or whatever. But we have, you know, just several ideas to kind of make it like a really nice community in Monessen, and to help the city out. And I think it's a perfect city, you know, because we looked at Bell Vernon. Bell Vernon's, you know, it's a nice town and everything, and it's where I grew up. But I think the potential here, in my opinion, is probably a little bit more. So as long as we can continue to get the help and support from these guys as we have, I think, you know, everything falls into place. We have a really good opportunity here for everyone. So that's it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. No? We had an opportunity for a group of PhD doctors that, very impressive. They came, they made a presentation to a few of us. Basically what it amounts to is there's the former chief scientist for Space Force, happens to be my little brother, but nonetheless, he was kind of the person that helped us do this. He brought along with him the deputy secretary of the Air Force. He brought along with him a doctor from Italy who is a NATO PhD who recommends to NATO the type of weapons to develop in the future. He brought along with him a PhD from MIT that has many different patents and so forth, who knows how to develop businesses. He brought along with him some professional people that have worked with education and so forth, and training people, not just training people out of the thin air, but really finding an industry and then training people to fit that industry exactly, which is something that is difficult to do. Any event, they will be coming to the city of Monessen, and they will meet with a select group of people. They'll be focused on 3 different things. One being government. And when I say government, I'm talking about government, federal government, state government, local, county government, the whole 9 yards, the city government. What is it going to look like in 20 years or 30 years from now? And think about this. If you go back, roll the clock back, did anybody plan on seeing COVID become what it became? Did anybody plan on 9/11 being what it became? Those were major events that affected the country. Those kinds of events can happen again, because they happened once, they can happen again. Those kinds of events will play a big effect on what we do in Monessen. Their whole goal is to develop a plan with government and the other 2 areas, which I'll talk about briefly, such that we at least know that when these things happen, we can do these little tricks over here in order to affect the way that we're going down this path. And realistically, it's the way that Space Force works, the Air Force works, NATO works, is how they work the controls to make sure they keep on path. The next one will be income. Income can be anything to a city. It can be tax revenue from real estate tax, it can be CDBG funds, it can be DCDD, it can be the stamp program, it can be NPP project, it can be, revenue can come from many different sources. But what's that going to look like in 10, 20 years from now? We need to understand that. If we have a population, maybe it's good. If we don't, it could be bad. The bottom line is, it will provide us the ability to look into the future and be able to control a little bit about what we're doing along the way to make sure we get to where we want to go. The third thing is education. Education is something that's education is social, people. This all comes into the same realm. Just as an example, love the county to death. They find companies like Volkswagen come into New Stanton. They find companies like Sony to come into New Stanton. What happens to these companies? They can't find the people to work there, and they eventually close up and go home. They just don't work. What she did in Pueblo, Colorado is a good example of what I hope to see happen here. She finds an industry that is interested in coming to the area, and then she works with the local community to develop people, to train people for that particular industry, such that when they do come together, it fits in like hand in glove. She did this in Pueblo. She used Lockheed. They wanted to open up an office there. Lockheed comes in and says, well, we need this kind of people. And by the way, we will help develop a curriculum for the people to train them to our standards. We will provide some funding to make sure that they have the funding that this can all happen. Anyway, 2 years later, Lockheed comes in. They had trained 500 people. 500 people got a job, and they're still there just going to town. It's just perfect blend of education with industry. It's those kinds of things that we need to look forward to and look towards that. And then well, that's the three things: the government, the income, and the education social aspects of it. Those are the three things that I want them to focus on, and I don't want them to develop a 5-year plan like we've done with STAMP program or anything else. Let's think big. Let's think 10, 20 years from now. We didn't get to where we are overnight. We won't get out of it overnight. But if we have a plan that's 10, 20, 30 years in the future, and we know what to expect, and we can tweak it a little bit along the way, we can play the game and get to where we want to be. And that's where I hope to go with this. With council's approval, I will start pushing this with school systems and trying to develop the plan and scheduling them to come to Monessen. I like to plan it so that they come during a work session where they end up their first 2 days at a work session so that they can report to us. 30 days later, they'll come back with a plan. So this is not a long-term thing. This is something that'll happen very quickly. I'd suggest that we do this maybe April, May time frame.
That works.
Okay. There is the county came to us and they had a program called Code Enforce. Code Enforce is a computerized piece of code software that code offices can use. It keeps track of citations, it keeps track of building permits, it keeps track of all the permits that code enforcement does, and it allows reports to be generated. But one of the things it also does is it enforces what is called the Act 90 program. The solicitor can probably explain this better than I can, but what it amounts to is we have these trucks that are coming through town. They have to meet Act 90 requirements. In other words, well, explain a little bit about that if you would.
Yeah, Act 90 is a blight remediation tool.
Okay.
For habitual serious code violations, there are higher criminal standards that they could be charged with. The problem with Act 90 is that, one, you gotta have the code enforcement officer who's on top of, habitual violations, right? You also have to track those to be able to rise it to the next level. Apparently this software does that. I know the city doesn't have any code enforcement software, and this came from the county land bank and Brian Lawrence as a recommendation.
Just be quiet. No, there's no questions. Now, this program does have a fairly stiff price tag. I think it runs about $5,000. He's in the process of soliciting grants to pay that $5,000 for at least 1, 2, 3 years. So, I'm not advocating that we jump on board with this immediately, but rather see if he can come up with some grant money to move this forward a little bit.
It does come from Turtle Creek Valley COG, I think. Whatever it is. It is a council of governments that's been around for a while. They're the ones that developed this. I know the land bank was looking into this software to create on their own. they stumbled upon this and just passed it along to the city for consideration.
'Cause I believe there's already 13 communities within Westmoreland, I believe, maybe, or
Yeah,
around
Allegheny.
surrounding area,
Allegheny
Allegheny
County,
County.
yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause it's coming out of Monroeville, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
The software.
Yeah.
East Pittsburgh,
Yep.
Monroeville.
Yep.
It will cause us to, increase our reliance upon an active code enforcement
Mm.
officer too. It's not something that we need in any event. I'm not sure what kind of discussion we need to have about the renaming of Pennsylvania and Washington Avenue as Lou Mavrekas Way. Lou has done a lot for this city. Is the letter that he provided in here?
No, we didn't have the letter from him.
Well,
This is our Genesis.
in any event, that'll be on the agenda for next time. Does anybody wanna talk about it any? I don't know.
Well, he's been part of the community for over 40 years.
Yeah.
I mean, the gentleman has actually done a lot for Monessen, despite how some might not believe so. That's here nor there. I think the man deserves to have a plaque up there at the street. Don't you?
No, just be quiet. This is not a time for. No, it is not. Work sessions for our benefit. You can watch it. Be quiet. Be quiet. Be quiet. Okay. Anybody want to say anything else about it?
No, but I think it's overdue, so.
Okay, thank you. We'll, it'll be on the agenda for the vote. Supernova. Supernova is something that I'm gonna thank Karen for a lot of the work that she did. Karen actually looked at this entirely differently than what I originally looked at it as. Basically, she put together a two-page list of jobs that they could do. It involves pulling weeds, it involves removing debris from storm grates, it involves picking up litter around the area, it involves sweeping and mopping floors, cleaning bathrooms, it includes detailing police vehicles and other vehicles that we have around, that the city has. Anyway, then, she put together a list, and it really becomes a list of duties that we would like to ask the group from Supernova to take on. And they have seen this list, and they agree that this is a good list and would be appropriate. I took it to the union and asked the union if they had any issues with it. They had no issues with it. It would be my suggestion that we put this on the agenda for the next meeting to adopt that relationship with Supernova and embark upon the people working on this list of jobs that we identified. The stamp program. That is being run by Dennis Martinek. He was the person that we set up with this. Do we have his report here? I sent this report to all of council, and I don't know that I need to particularly read it all here. He will be here next meeting, and he will be able to give the report in a little bit better. Basically, what he's done, he's been reviewing reports, studies, plans, policies that the city has relevant to financial review and assessment of administration and management, economic development, and preparing the stamp program. He's been looking at everything from infrastructure blight to social economics. He's completed a field review of the city to identify current conditions and issues that are around the city. They did a preliminary review of the area across the street. They're looking at the city boards, authorities, and commissions and preparing for interviewing and reviewing some of that. They've been looking at our financial information to prepare their recommendation. The end result of this is they need to provide a stamp report to DCED. Once they do that, it opens up many avenues of revenue to come into the city to address the issues that they identify. I think the best thing to do is to get him back here when he can be here and to give us an update. It'll be more complete than this one, because there'll be more stuff to it. But if there's any questions, I've tried my best to answer them.
Yeah. Question. Where's it at? I mean, a lot of this was just review. Is that all he's done for 4 months?
That's all he's done. He's in the process of preparing a report that goes to DCED as part of the stamp report.
Are
That's,
we gonna see the report before he sends it?
yes, absolutely.
And there is a part in here where he talks about project team meetings, consulting, and West Media Group.
Mm-hmm.
How did they come on board?
There are people that he brought on board to assist him in preparing the report.
Is that coming out of his 75?
Yes. And he can explain his budget more complete than I can, but he does have a budget that includes all different kinds of studies being done and work that he's doing.
I just think some of this is going off the rails, and we don't know anything of what's going on behind the scenes.
Well, he's been holding meetings with us, and we asked the paper to document that for us, and they did do that. But realistically, all of this comes down to a report that needs to come before council, before it goes to DCED, that says, this is what we think that we would like to do with the stamp program. He will provide a list of projects that he thinks are correct, but it is still up to council to determine exactly where it goes and how it gets presented to DCED.
There's a comment here that says, started the market analysis for the site. What site?
The Donner Avenue site that they're looking at to develop, so that's one of the situations.
Both of the projects have been put
It's
together. There's two
stamp-
sorts of funding that entered into this. One is the stamp program, and the other is the county LSA money that we got in order to develop the property across the street.
That was the 75,000, wasn't it?
Yeah, and there's another 58 or something that comes from stamp.
58 is the stamp amount.
But didn't we allocate that to something?
That 75?
Yeah.
Yeah, to developing the lot across the street.
There's just not much detail here.
Well,
There's no detail.
That's what he's got, in his report thus far, and like I say, he's still got some time. He's started on this late summer. He's got till late summer this year before the report is presented to DCED. I'd like to get that done sooner than later.
I would hope that he would present his findings or approach long before that to council, so council doesn't have to look at something and say, oh, yes or no, right then and there.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And in fact, if it comes to that, it'll get pushed off for a month or two until we have a chance to think about it too. We're not gonna rush to that, one way or the other. It's an opportunity for us to reap some of the benefits of the stamp program that we've been through for the last many years. And that really boils down to money.
Yeah, but a lot of those grants have matching funds tied to them, correct?
Maybe, maybe not. A lot of it is just flat out grants, DCED money that's set aside.
Okay.
And he will be here on the 26th to detail all of this before council, so.
Well, I hope he has some actual details to give.
Well, I don't know if he's
council.
gonna be complete with his complete project report by that time, but he can sure give us a hint of where he's going and what he's looking at.
Well, I would say after 5 months of being brought on board, he should have more than just reviews.
Well, we'll find out. That we gave him a year to do that. That's what the stamp program requires too. As far as the LERTA activity, I know that, our solicitor has prepared a ordinance. He sent it to everybody. There's no need for that ordinance to be enacted yet, and in fact, it can't be enacted until we get cooperation from the school and the county. So, with, all I really would like to do is have permission from council for the solicitor and myself to make presentations at the school board and get them on board. If we get the school board on board, we're home free.
So moved.
It's not a motion, just a
Right,
sentiment.
that's not an issue, but you have my blessing.
Okay, that's all I'm looking for.
I got a
We gotta
better
move
one.
forward with that.
I got a better one. Why don't you have the school board representative come here? They've never showed up in all the years I've been on council.
How many times you showed up at theirs?
At the beginning, I was there probably about every second
Well,
month.
first off, allow Joe and I to make a presentation there and test the waters. I'm not sure if this will be done through executive session or done through open forum. They different than the city. They function different, but they are aware of what we're doing down here with the LERTA project, and they are very interested in seeing it pursued.
Okay, all the more reason for them to show up here.
Well, they might. I'm not gonna say one way or the other. The most important thing is that we get moving on this LERTA and start seeing some development come into the city. That's the most important thing. At this point, I'd like to ask, Chief Uhas to come explain to us his, FTO program, his Monessen Field Training Officer program. He's been sworn in a long time ago.
I actually had a cheat sheet in my car. So.
Well, just tell us a little bit about what it is.
All right, a field training program is, it's to create more of a structure when we hire on new officers. There is a lot to learn from, going back 20-some years when I started. Here's the keys, here's a map, figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with bringing on new officers, and it's a training program. This is how our policies and procedures work. This is how you handle these calls. This is how even learn the streets of the town. It does it sheds a lot of light onto new officers to how to interact with people, how to, because you get, maybe you get someone, like poor Seth here, he's 21, 22 years old. Get him to, the field training officer itself basically stands back, lets him handle the call. Then afterwards, okay, this is what I would've did, this is what I, would've changed, so forth and so on. Or if the officer is handling the call in a way that FTO can step in to, take over that incident.
It's a well-controlled training
Yes.
program.
A mentorship.
It's like a mentorship. So the plan that we have is to have, a couple of FTOs. We gotta find the proper training for these officers to go, because you're just not an FTO being an officer.
Mm-hmm.
There is curriculum that that you follow. It actually teaches the officer how to teach, in a sense. Having a couple of those, and then, because each officer does things a certain way, they can learn different aspects, So, that's the quick version of that.
Just out of curiosity, what are the implications to the city as far as cost or?
The cost itself, you're paying the officer and you're paying the trainee.
But you gotta do that anyway.
You gotta do that anyway.
Can I?
The only increase is the FTO is an extra $1 an hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if council recalls, this was part of the contract negotiations with the union. The field training officer isn't anything new, it's been something that's been ongoing. This formalizes it, it gives them a policy and procedure which was 100% necessary. And this is moving that forward.
It just gives us a guideline.
Perfect. Anybody have any questions of them?
So, question. So, for example, we hired an officer that was seasoned,
Mm-hmm.
in a kinder way to put it, comes to Monessen, will they still follow the requirements of going underneath the FTO?
Yes, they still go under that, maybe not as long, I believe.
Just to get to know the, I guess, surroundings of the city, the people,
Yeah,
the community.
the FTO program, I believe it's spelled out either a 4 or 6 week
Okay.
Program, 4 weeks, like with Mike, who was here. He's been an officer for 20 years. All right, his biggest hurdle was learning the streets.
Okay.
So that's different than we're dealing with Seth. Seth needs more time, he needs to learn the streets and learn police work.
Is there any, criteria that the FTO has to meet with, let's say, discipline?
Yes, they can't receive any disciplinary action within 6 months or a year.
I think it's 6 months.
And have a minimum of 3 years with the city of Monessen.
Okay. So, like, if they get any complaints of, like, their character or anything, would that disqualify them from being on the FTO?
As long as it's within a past 6, well, not really the complaint, they actually have to have a written complaint.
To go
Yeah.
through the investigation and
Yes.
hearing.
And once it's founded, and if there is any disciplinary action taken due to that,
Okay.
they have, I believe it's 6 months, and I think that's with everything, I think it's 6 months or a year, and then it's 6 months from their record.
Very good. Anybody have anything else?
No, thank you, Chief.
Thank you, appreciate it. The next one's gonna be pretty short and sweet, I think. As everybody remembers, we used to use Hop as the actuarial services. They got bought by Accusure. Accusure, basically is another qualified actuary. We gotta have them to meet all the state requirements and so forth. We did meet with, the pension board, and the pension board looked at it and said, you know, we ought to at least look around and see what kind of other actuaries there are out there and whether there's any opportunities for improvement or lesser cost. We are committed to Accusure throughout the rest of this year, but it takes months in order to find a new actuary, so it's really appropriate that we start doing a RFP and start interviewing and so forth.
There's actually an Acrisure contract. They allowed the city to go through the first year without signing that contract. But this year is an important year because it's an even year, and I think there are some reports that are required by the law for your pension plan. You don't have time to have those reports complete and go and hire a new actuarial provider. I think the cost for the year, and it's in there, now it's escaping me, it was like $4,500 for the year. And I believe that is a pension cost, so the pension
You
fund
come,
plans
put it out of the pension fund, yes.
If you are gonna move forward with an RFP, that has to be at the recommendation of your pension board.
Right.
So you're gonna have to convene a meeting to discuss that and move that forward.
And we in fact did, and they did suggest that we do this.
Okay.
There's also a 60-day termination, so we'd have to have defined by October, as I recall.
Correct.
So, this is not too early to start thinking about these things. The next one is a discussion of rescheduling and advertising and advertising our council meetings. March 26th, I'm gonna be unavailable. March 24th, June 25th happens to be Monessen Night Out, of which many people on council go to.
Yeah.
I would like to suggest that we convene the Tuesday before, the March 24th, and the Tuesday before June 25th, and advertise it as such, just to eliminate some of the confusion that's there. I'd like to put that on the agenda for...
I have a hard time reasoning why we need to do this, 'cause we're gonna spend money to advertise, and that's ridiculous.
Well, but there are things that, Monessen Night Out is an important thing for the community, for the school system. We can't change that.
We're not changing it. If you could if you still wanted to go, you could still be able to make it.
No, they're the same time, 5 to 8 p.m. is the same time as we have council meeting.
Our council meeting's at 6:30.
Yeah,
I have people out of here by 7 o'clock.
well, I'm just saying that people spend more time than that at these things, and it's a family event.
Again, we don't change things for vacations or people that are sick and anything else. Again, I don't see the reason to spend $150 to change it.
Yeah, I'd like to make that a motion that we vote on.
That's okay. I mean, I'm just voicing my opinion.
Okay. In the packet is a long contract, and it's the contract for the, approval of the U.S. Corps of Army Engineers to do the boat launch, more specifically the ramp at the Herman Malik City Park, the boat launch area. As everybody's aware, when they dropped the river level, that made the ramp that much less into the river, and you have a big boat, you back it into the thing to unload the boat, it falls off the end of the ramp, and next thing you're doing is you're trying to get your boat and your ramp and your trailer back on the ramp so you can get your vehicle out of the area. It's just not workable. They have limited, it's rather interesting. Maybe Joe can explain this better than I, but we went to our engineer when they initially brought this project up, and our engineers looked at the sky and said, how high can we make this price? And they said, $60,000. They came back and said, okay, here's $331,000. Explain how that works. I don't know. But
I did figure that out.
but please explain it to me.
So, the $65,000 was your engineering cost, the design, project management, so on and so forth. That was based on the $351,000 that the Army Corps of Engineers said that extending this boat ramp is going to cost. That's what they told your engineers. Your engineers had a preliminary number, and they said that's too little.
One thing that really disturbs me is if you go and you're gonna launch a boat, you got a trailer, you got your vehicle, you take the trailer, you back it into the river, we have the ramp extended so it doesn't fall off the end of anything, but what do? You gotta tie your boat off, go park your car, come back on the dock and load the boat up with all your stuff and hop in the boat and go spend the day boating. But yet they won't allow us any money to handle the dock, the ramp that goes out there. This is something I think we need to have a powwow with them and understand how that works. If they will allow it, we could use some matching funds with the boat and fish, and the contract does not imply you can do any of these things I'm talking about, so it may not go anywhere. But I think that it's ridiculous for them not to talk to us about it and see if there's any way we can expand this.
I think it's important to point out with the contract, it is a reimbursement contract. It's reimbursed in two different ways depending on the phase. During the design phase, your engineering will be reimbursed. Again, reimbursed. The city has to expend these funds and then be reimbursed by the Army Corps. At, I believe, 75% of the design and then 100% of the design. During the construction phase, the Army Corps will reimburse the city at 25% increments throughout the project. The last 25% will not be reimbursed until there's been a certificate of completion and punch list items are completed.
Right, we need to understand how long it takes them to reimburse us and everything else. There's a lot of questions in that. But by the same token, the boat launch is a very important part of what the city has for resources for the fishermen. It's a very important thing. So we do need to continue
Yeah,
to.
so it's within 60 days. That once you submit everything, everything's completely submitted. The contract says in 60 days they will reimburse the city for those expenses.
Okay. Anybody have anything else they wanna say about that?
Mayor.
The next thing is, a 2024, LSA, county LSA grant that we got a contract on, C 000093352, in the amount of $29,960. This is specifically for our fire department to get some equipment. The only way that they will do this is also a reimbursement. In talking to Devanza, we can expect to be reimbursed within 3 or 4 days now. That's the only way that we can make this grant happen, is that correct?
That's correct.
The county will work very, very much behind us. They'll do the best they can, but if we're gonna provide this to the fire department as we said we would, we have to expend this $29,000 and then get reimbursed by the county. And hopefully they do it in the three days that they say they can do it in. I would like to point out too, that the SEEP, agreement, this is big stuff. This is, when we were doing the county, the state LSA grant, they were concerned that they weren't gonna be able to get us everything, and they said, maybe if we pulled out the 2 police cars, we can do that funding a different way. Well, they did it a different way through the SEEP program, and they went ahead and funded us the state grant anyway. The SEEP program is $125,000 for police cars. That money will be deposited in the city coffers tomorrow. We will have that money but that's different money than the state money. We got word that it will be wire transferred to the city tomorrow. That gives our police the ability to go out and get 2 police cars. One of the police cars will be fully outfitted, the other they'll be using some of the equipment out of one of the other cars, but they'll end up with 2 new cars.
Do we have any, I guess the car that will be replaced, is it functional to replace code?
Possibly. I don't know that we're gonna have replacement or we're just getting up to where the police need to have their vehicles.
Okay.
But,
'Cause I know the code vehicle's
I
pretty
think that
bad.
maybe when we get the next 2 police cars through the state LSA,
State LSA, maybe we can
maybe
allocate one
we can get
over.
one of them. That's, gonna be up to the chief to determine though. Anyway, I think that ends my stuff. I'm gonna turn it over to Tony for bill payment, which is,
Thank you, Mayor. Make a motion to pay the following invoices from the general fund in the amount of $114,118.26.
is there a second?
Second.
Is there any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the rec account in the amount of $609.16.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the line usage fund in the amount of $17,824.98.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the parks fund in the amount of $1,235.16.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Motion to pay the following invoices from the grant fund in the amount of $2,970.69.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Motion to approve the transfer of $77,282.86 from the general fund to the payroll account for payroll.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Motion to approve the transfer of $87,942.38 from the general fund to the payroll account.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Orchakowski?
Yes.
Mayor motion.
Yes.
Motion to approve sewer rehabilitation project phase 3 and payment and requisition and certificate number 40 in the amount of $450,431.46. It is for phase 3 work performed by WC Engineering, Inc. from January 1st, 2026 to January 31st, 2026 in the amount of $50,972.05. Also included are two invoices from Inside Pipe Contracting LLC for work performed during January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026 in the amount of $70,001.78 on one invoice for MCSP Inc. for work performed during January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026 in the amount of $329,457.63.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Can I talk about the Fifth Street for just a quick second?
You're the mayor.
So, you may have noticed by Dollar General, they had a bunch of trailers there with concrete bags and so forth. They actually went in a manhole there. They crossed the railroad tracks. We are done with the railroad now. We've got all our crossings through the railroad track lined. We don't have to worry about CSX payments or right-of-ways or anything else. That was a big accomplishment. Just the insurance cost alone was phenomenally high. Any event, we're past the railroad. So they go past the railroads and they continue on down through the plant. They go underneath this is a 36-inch pipe that they're doing. It's not a huge pipe. They're doing this by hand inside a pipe, something you'd never catch me doing. But they go through this all the way through the past the boiler room, underneath the batteries, all the way to where they get to the river. And about 20 feet before they get to the river, they look and up in front of us, their pipe goes like this and then takes a steep dive down as it goes into the river. This last 65 feet that goes into the river, the bottom is gone of the pipe. It's bad. They say, okay, we got to have a change order on this. We never predicted that this would be that bad. They say $331,000, something like that neighborhood, to go 65 feet. That's $5,000 a foot. That's top dollar. You got to be really scared to do this if you're going to charge that much money. We took the opportunity to look at this, and it really is an emergency type thing. The bottom is gone. This is a brick line. You have to understand how this is a hand-laid brick line. When the bricks fall out of the bottom of it, no longer is the strength of the pipe solid. It's very much subject to failure immediately. Had we known this 3 or 4 years ago, we had changed a lot of our approach to how we worked with Cleveland Cliffs. But nonetheless, here we are trying to solve this problem. There is another company that says they'll do it for about $220,000, and by the time you discount the money that we would have paid the inside to do it, it works out to something less than $200,000. We're trying to evaluate whether this is an avenue we want to go. I do not want to compromise safety in any way, shape, or form, but I also don't want to waste any money, and that's something that we're working with our engineering in Cleveland Cliffs to determine how we go from here. Anyway, enough of that. Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Chakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Moser?
Yes.
Motion to transfer $100,000 from the City of Monessen tax anticipation note to the general fund.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilperson Cosner?
Yes.
Councilman Nestor?
Aye.
Councilman Chakowski?
Yes.
Mayor Moser?
Yes.
Balances are as following: debt service fund, $608,444.80. Fire escrow, $95,282.09. General fund, $2,747.07. Grant fund, $208,018.43. Healthcare fund, $4,276.89. Line usage, $673,842.52. Liquid fuels, $1,159.43. Parks fund, $86,944.91. Paving escrow, $177,362.95. Payroll is $19,921.23. Rec fund is $380.42. Refuge fund has $285,364.70. And the TAN note has $502,880.69. Mayor, that's my report.
Thank you. Councilman Nestor, do you have a report for us?
Honorable Mayor, members of council, administrative staff, citizens of Monessen, and row officers, I will go ahead and abstain from giving my report until our next meeting. I did want to go over a few things. Have we heard anything back yet for PEMA about reimbursements or payments back to the city for, like, for our COE, or
We're
any?
gonna be submitting forms to them, Councilman, in the next few days.
Okay.
The emergency edict has just been, I believe, ended,
Okay,
so now
so
we're
it's
in the
been, since
process
it's
of
lifted now,
submitting those,
then we
yes.
can go ahead and fill it.
And then I'll submit those, to you at the next meeting of what those costs were.
Oh, thank you, Mike, I appreciate that. Another question is, did we ever find out any information about the old Rite Aid building, who Monessen LLC is, and
It's
the
basically,
purchasing?
the only thing I know for sure is it's an investment company that bought it. They bought several of these Rite Aid buildings all across the state. They primarily in Pennsylvania, but I believe they've got some in other states as well. The bottom line is, they are marketing that to anybody that they possibly can. They made several inquiries sounding like it was gonna be a Dollar Tree or something along those lines. I don't know that any of that's happening at all.
Yeah, 'cause I noticed, like, the county appraised the property for $190K, and then this Monessen LLC came in, purchased the property for, I think, maybe $300K, and I just wasn't sure if they're coming in and doing a Dollar Tree, if they came in and talked to the city, what was their grounds on purchasing, or what their thoughts were for the city going forward with the property.
There was, at least an inquiry about whether or not I think it was a Dollar Tree could be constructed there, probably about a year ago at this point. I don't know if that was the entity that acquired the property or somebody representing that entity.
The entity that got it also got that same thing, and they were trying to get Dollar Tree to do it. Now, nothing's happened yet, so I don't know what that means.
So I just wasn't too sure though, since someone brought the property, this LLC, have they came to the city with like a property manager form, filled out information, so if the property becomes somehow dilapidated or has any issues, then we have a right to go after that manager to rehabilitate that property or fix that property.
No, but they are paying taxes on it.
I get that, but like, if they own a property out of state, we have, I believe, right, am I right, Solicitor, that we have ordinances that we should have a property manager on place that gives us, you know, a right to contact someone if, let's say, the roof's starting to cave in, or the property, let's say the parking lot's starting to get too many potholes, or if, God forbid, a vagrant went
I
inside
understand.
and started living in there. I just
Yeah.
wasn't too sure if someone came to the city and said, hey, this is who I am, this is my property
We
manager.
We
you
know who they are, and we need to probably
We
complete
need to get that information.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, good point.
Yeah.
Well taken.
So that's our thing, so since they purchased that property, when is any point the code officer will probably have to go in and look?
At some point, there should have been an occupancy inspection. K2 would have likely have completed that. Usually at the time of transfer, that has to occur. I don't know if that occurred in this case, but
I just wanna make sure that the city's
That
on the
would've been a-
ball, and
that
we're
would've been
we're
a-
not just,
during the
falling back
occupancy,
behind.
during the occupancy inspection would have been a great time to notify them about the other requirements.
Probably ought to reach out to them and get squared up with all that.
Yeah, are we anywhere near have we heard anything yet from, for code, if we got any applicants?
We have 4 in
Okay.
currently. So
Okay.
we could begin the process, and I think
I've-
some of these discussions on the code software and that sort of thing, I think are bringing the issue
Bringing an issue forward, okay.
to finally, let's move ahead and.
Cause I'd like to start interviewing as possible.
Okay.
That's, Joe. No, it's all right.
Perfect,
Thank you. I yield the floor, Mayor, thank you.
thank you. Councilwoman Cosner, you have anything you'd like to report?
Well, I'll put off my usual report till the end of the month, but, when I stopped down to the city garage and just chat with Rodney and the guys, one item that they say either we need to replace it or put it up for sale is the lift. And I didn't realize that lifts have to be inspected just like elevators do, and has not been inspected. I believe there's been a leak to it, and it is not the kind of lift, it's to put our big trucks on. So I'm curious how it ever got in that building, but nonetheless, it's not operational now. And we're getting that new asphalt zipper, which is gonna come with other things. We need room in that building, so I don't know what everybody thinks about, somebody had indicated, well, it's been inspected. Did anybody ever give a cost on repairing it? And even if they repaired it, what will we do with it if we can't and put up our trucks on the lift? So that's,
Yeah.
I'm all for like moving ahead with things. We've been talking about this lift for probably, I've been hearing about it about 3 years, so I just would like some professional opinion. Will that lift ever be used? Should we put any money in it? Does somebody wanna buy it? Should it be scrapped and, get money for the metal that's in it? I don't know if anybody has any thoughts. I mean, Delmar's here and he's an expert on all things related to city garage items.
The bottom line is we have a mechanic that we hired, and we don't have any mechanic tools for him. The lift could be one, but, whether it's falls within those guidelines, I don't know.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, is I noticed, if you come to these meetings, most of our work gets outsourced out, and our mechanic doesn't touch anything.
Right, and that's just not right.
So, are we gonna keep the lift and maybe change the title of the mechanic?
We'll let the mechanic do some mechanicking.
But
Well, we pay him a premium to be a mechanic. We would think we'd provide him some tools.
well, he does a lot of work on the vehicles, but again, even if you fix that lift, you cannot put our trucks on it.
No, but you can put police cars on it, you
Well,
can
there was
check the
some-
brakes on that, you can do all kinds of things with other vehicles.
Some issue that Rodney mentioned to me about the width of that, and when you put the police cars up on it, the tires don't exactly sit where they should. And, Dustin said, it's sometimes like a safety issue. He's worried about
They
those
could be wobble or.
cars being put on that lift.
It should be adjustable, but I don't know, I haven't
Well,
looked
I
at it.
don't know either. I'm just thinking, well, either we have a lift or we don't have a lift,
If it's
or
of no value to the city, I agree with you, it needs to be,
it needs to be
Gone.
gone. But, and I don't know who's gonna determine that. It's not gonna be me. So I need some help with this.
well,
Suggestions and, what do we do with the lift if we cannot use it? So, there's that. And then, the discussion of the playground mulch. I know I've brought this up in prior meetings numerous times and was told that maybe there's some LSA money to pay for this playground grade mulch. If you've gone around to our playground, you'll notice that it's divoted under the playground equipment, which is not safe. I had the guy from the, in charge of the county, Parks and Rec come. I said, will you look at this? And he says, I have a whole playground manual, 6 inches of mulch under playground equipment, and it would be nice to have one of those, weed barriers. And I know, Mike, you were gonna check and see if CoStars has these, like, where are we with, spring is right around the corner. We're gonna wake up and there's gonna be flowers growing. And this is when I would think we want the playgrounds to be looking their best. So where are we with getting, like a triaxle or so of playground grade mulch for the playground?
is rebuilding those playgrounds still of something that we're talking about? If
Well,
we're rebuilding them, then we got
When-
CDBG funds that we can use.
When Aaron was here, didn't he tell us we couldn't use the
We
money
can't
for
do it
that?
for ma-
I
You
mean,
can
I
do it
know-
if you rebuild them, you can't do it if you're just repairing them.
Right, if you would put like a wooden border or something around it, like we have down at the boat
Yeah.
launch.
Yeah, I mean, if we looked at it, we put in new swing sets, you put in new border to capture things, that's the kind of thing that CDBG can help with. If, they can't just bring in mulch though.
No, but in the meantime, we need mulch.
If
'Cause
we're just looking for mulch,
I've learned that things take a long time out. We have spring coming, we have kids that we wanna have using that playground, so.
have you contacted anybody to see if they donate any
Yes,
mulch?
I have, and have gotten nowhere.
Hmm.
And I think I mentioned that before. I mean, you can only nag people so much before they don't even take your emails. And
Yeah.
so we need mulch for the playgrounds.
Okay.
We have 3 playgrounds where kids use, and we wanna see the kids out there using it. So that's a concern of mine, is that I would like to see some mulch purchased. If there's any volunteers out there, anybody has money that say, hey, I'll buy some mulch for you, I'd really like to see it, because it's important that we have these playgrounds. I
They're
think.
used, trust
I
me,
mean,
they're
they
used.
are used.
They are
They
used.
are used, and you have little ones, so
Yep.
I'm assuming we still have some children left in this town who
All I'm
would
saying
like
is
to be
that there
on
is
them.
money available as part of our CDBG budget that would fit in very well if you were to redesign and rebuild
Who can help with that?
Aaron.
Okay, but in the meantime, how do I get mulch for the spring?
That's two different problems.
Well, I need that, so.
I don't know what to do this whole time.
It's playground grade. I'm not asking for that kind that's like rubberized. What's that?
Cecilia just
Well,
saw
there
the
is
exact
wood,
exact-
and I think there's a company in Bridgeville, and they sell playground grade mulch, and you can have the rubberized mulch, like we have down at the end of town, or you can have, it's wooden mulch, but I don't know if it's not treated with chemicals and stuff like that, but we do have options, but we really need the mulch, and I'll keep saying that. So that's one thing. And then, it came to my attention, and I remember years ago hearing when Matt Sherrod was mayor about our Snow Angels program. Went over my head until we were made aware that a few people wanted snow angels in our town. So what I did, and we have papers on our website, I didn't know it. What I always do is I call around to other municipalities and I get input because I don't know anything about this. And I called Bridgeville and spoke to their office manager, and she gave me a lot of pointers on establishing a snow angel program in Monessen. But the main thing is you have to have volunteers, and it has to be well coordinated. They start in the spring for winter. So I think it's a great program. We certainly have a need. I think they target people, senior citizens over 65. You have to have a financial need. You can't have like a family member living with you who could shovel sidewalks and things like that. But she gave me a lot of information, and I would definitely be willing to help with this and coordinate it, but I need volunteers. So anybody out here is listening to this and they think, oh yeah, and she said that they like their angels to be with a 5-minute walk from the people they help, because if we have a really bad snow, your angels aren't getting out of their driveway either. So again, if we want this in Monessen, I'd like people to contact me and say, yeah, it's important, and I'd be willing to sign up to be a snow angel. So just, does anybody have any questions or?
No, it'd be nice to
Great
see
if you
happen,
get some
yeah.
volunteers.
We need volunteers for like everything, but if we want this, we definitely need volunteers, and I'm sure you saw the need for it this year. People were stuck in their houses, so there was that. And then I wanted to remind people that I have that community calendar, so if you have any events scheduled and you would like to have them on our city calendar, just email me with what it is, when it's gonna be, and stuff like that. I'll put it on the calendar. And then we have, June 27th, Billy Price is coming again. July 11th, Good Karma at City Park for our, music in the park. And then, August, we're still working on programming for that. It could be, we had discussed maybe having different church groups come in, and choral groups, or bands, or whatever. It would be a more loose, schedule than what we had for these scheduled events. I think it could be really nice. We could have it all day long at the amphitheater. And then September 12th is Sky Pilot. They were with us last summer, and they're coming back, and that's all I know. But again, we need volunteers, so if you'd like to help, I will take your name tonight before you leave. That's all I have.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
Mayor, motion to adjourn tonight's meeting, Thursday, February 12th at 7:48 PM.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned, thank you.